Don Pablo. Today is especially delicious.
Question: what would you sacrifice to achieve your dreams? To me, it seems obvious that filmmaking in any capacity is a person's pursuit to tell a story, while inevitably leaving a piece of themselves behind with it. As a result, it can sometimes seem like choosing to chase your dreams and fulfill your creative desires may mean that you're having to make a choice between personal happiness and the path of least resistance. And every once in a while, a filmmaker will write out their experience with those thoughts, code it in an interesting true story, wrap it in a colorful luchador costume, and call it Nacho Libre.
I am Nacho.
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 Nacho. Nacho.
Nacho.
Nacho.
Nacho Libre is the story of Ignacio, a Catholic monk friar who feeds the hungry by day and moonlights as a flamboyant luchador called Nacho Libre by night. The film highlights Nacho's duality between his two life paths that he's equally devoted to and packs in scene-to-scene slapstick comedy, toilet humor, and countless kicks in the ass.
Look alive.
I should also mention that it's loosely based on the true story of a Mexican friar who masqueraded around town as a wrestler to raise money for his church, but I believe there's more to it than that. It's a movie that was co-written and directed by the same indie hero that brought us Napoleon Dynamite and stars Jack Black during the prime of his comedy career. This was a movie that was destined for dollars, but today's episode isn't about breaking down the box office numbers that this film raked in, but instead finding some deeper meaning to this otherwise silly and heartfelt film. So if you're in the mood to have some laughs and watch a dude on the internet absolutely overanalyze each frame of this wrestling comedy, then, well, strap in, grab a drink, and make sure you suplex that like button, because we are gonna figure out, what is Nacho Libre really about? Alright, so if you're not familiar with Nacho Libre, here's the rundown. Ignacio is a friar for the Catholic Church in Oaxaca, Mexico. He cooks for orphans and secretly enjoys lucha libre wrestling, which he feels a strong connection to. When the church begins losing funds, the food for the kids becomes more and more scarce, which forces Ignacio to recruit a local homeless man with feral cat-like reflexes, and the pair will enter wrestling contests to earn money to feed the children. The only problem is, Nacho ain't very good at wrestling.
I don't want to get paid to lose. I want to win.
See, he loves wrestling. It's all he thinks about, and his dedication to it is admirable. But he sucks. Luckily, he finds out right away that you get paid pretty well for losing a match too, so Nacho begins earning money for the children and spending some of his money on the finer things that he never had.
But these are my recreation clothes.
Now, to me, this movie is just a clear extension of what Hess was trying to say with his previous film. In the Napoleon Dynamite episode of this show, we determined that we think Napoleon Dynamite is about friends and friendship, and specifically staying authentic to who and what you are, so that eventually the right friends will find you. And where that film emphasized friends and friendship, this movie explores the inner struggle of choosing the path laid out for you or following your heart into the unknown. Nacho was raised by the church after his parents died when he was just a baby, and he spent his entire life knowing nothing other than serving his community and obeying the rules of his religion.
Okay. Maybe I am not meant for these duties.
Nacho's desire to be a celebrated and vibrant wrestler is the creative expression that Nacho truly wants, but the trade of career fighting is, of course, against his religion. Now, let's look at how this might relate to Jared Hess.
But raised in the church, I served a mission in Venezuela. I got hernias, had to go home. Then I was reassigned to Chicago. So I was a year in Venezuela, a year in Chicago, Spanish speaking. Had an amazing experience, incredible mission presidents. I have a very, I think, affectionate and complex relationship to the faith. And I guess we could talk about that later.
Hess was raised Mormon and attended church for most of his life. His religion was also centered around a strong sense of community and fellowship that can often make certain types of self-expression feel taboo or even wrong. This is a clear parallel to Nacho's life and religion, and where Nacho daydreams of being a wrestler, I think the luchador stuff is really just a metaphor for filmmaking or any creative endeavor, but specifically comedy. Putting on silly costumes and making people cheer and laugh, it just seems obvious. Now, the movie doesn't really pit religion against art in a sense that makes either one feel antagonistic. They simply both exist and only clash in Nacho's commitment to them. Hess is still a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints and doesn't seem to have any resentment towards his religious upbringing in any of his work, because that's not the point.
Sucks to be me right now.
The entire movie is Nacho's journey to both reconcile his love for the church and his love for wrestling, and also getting good at wrestling in general. Oh, and there's also a love story in there too. The point is that Hess wasn't trying to say that we should ignore and shun the people in our lives that try to keep us grounded and safe, but rather that if you truly love the thing that you're pursuing, you'll find a way to achieve that goal on your own terms. But also that there are a lot of difficult and painful lessons to learn along the way. Alright, so what do we have so far? A silly comedy about a luchador who's torn between two life paths that are equally important but for different reasons.
He told me the idea of this guy that had two lives. One life that was just for the Lord, and this other secret life that he has where he loves wrestling, but they can't coexist. You know, a man of the Lord cannot live a life of, of violence. So he's torn, his soul is torn.
I've already stated the parallels I've seen between the film's plot and the writer-director who created it, but what else can we learn from the hilarious misadventures of this unlikely hero? Well, to figure that out, let's look at the people around him.
I don't think I can leave you. You're too fat.
First and foremost, we have Hector Jimenez as Esquelito, or Steven, or the Skeleton. This dude is both hilarious and wholesomely charming as Nacho's right-hand man and best amigo. In Nacho's struggle to exist in two worlds, Esquelito is completely disconnected from both the church and the wrestling world. He's the only person in Nacho's life who doesn't judge him for his double life because he doesn't have any skin in the game for either side. He's just a friend who's just there to be a friend.
Me and Hector start off as enemies, and over the course of the film we become best friends. And also we have philosophical differences. I am a man of the Lord, and I believe in God and faith. And he's a man of science. He only believes in science. But somehow we still work together to become one of the great wrestling tag teams of all time.
Similar to recruiting a homeless man to help you win a wrestling tournament, Hess made friends in film school that were not only not Mormon, but also not experienced filmmakers. Some of these people have gone on to collaborate with Hess on multiple projects and seem like key pieces to the art that he's created. In essence, the character of Steven is there to remind us that we will always go further with input from those with different and diverse perspectives, because that's what making something great takes. I guess what I'm saying is, no Esquelito, no Nacho.
Don't you want a little taste of the glory? See what it tastes like.
Of course, every great dynamic duo needs a big bad to go up against, and in this case, to represent something deeper and more personal. Enter Ramsey, a hometown hero celebrity wrestler whose greatness is not lost on him. This guy is giant, scary, arrogant, and a stone-cold cheat in the wrestling ring. He's extremely one-dimensional, but I also believe that to be by design. To me, this antagonist represents the fellow filmmakers in Jared's history who were maybe further along in the craft, but didn't have any of the heart and soul. And you know what? None of those guys directed Napoleon Dynamite and made a pop cultural movement that's lasted for decades, so I guess that means in this movie, Nacho has to win. Literally. Other characters and what they represent may be people like the other monks in Nacho's monastery representing his parents and or family, which may be portrayed as cruel and unwelcoming, but ultimately these guys are harmless and they're really just there to make us root for Nacho.
Get that card out of my face!
But what about the beautiful and mysterious Sister Encarnacion? What's her deal? If this truly is a film that parallels Hess's life, I mean, I guess it's his fellow filmmaker and Hess's wife, Jerusha Hess, but their relationship just isn't summed up online where I can further invade the privacy of these two lovers in order to feed my obsession with giving this movie meaning, so I guess I just don't know.
Listen, I don't like the way those guys just looked at you.
I mentioned earlier that this movie was loosely based on a true story, and while that is true, I think Hess must have related to this particular story for a reason. The real Nacho Libre was a man called Sergio Gutierrez Benitez. I mean, sure, the headline of something like this is a goldmine for adaptations as it is, but I think Hess saw the story as simply a man defying his faith in order to better serve it, while also accomplishing a deep-seated internal desire. A man who truly found a way to have his cake and eat it too. This is not just the true story of Sergio Benitez, folks. It's also the true story of Jared Hess.
My mother was a Lutheran missionary from Scandinavia, and my father a deacon from Mexico.
The film's ending, while heartwarming and quirky, is an optimistic take on the reality of coming into your own. Things for Nacho will never be the same. They'll never be the way they were again now that this has all happened. But what he finds is that his life is actually better. He gets to be the luchador champion after defeating Ramsey. He gets to take care of the orphan kids that he's so close to, and he even finds a little romance. His religion doesn't change just because he stopped serving the monastery. This movie, plain and simple, is one big message to us, the audience, that being yourself and following your dreams is worth every single beating you have to take in order to get there. You just have to have a little faith. Folks, Nacho Libre truly lives on as a quirky and comedic tale that represents the underdog in all of us. For every fart joke or pratfall that makes you chuckle or roll your eyes, there's honesty, wisdom, and empathy in between each one. Hess also went on to make a movie called The Gentleman Bronco, which tells the story of a little kid who gets his world shaken when he meets one of his heroes who is a greedy and untalented grown-up. I think that movie has its own message, and it's something that I'm deeply fascinated about. But you tell me, that's I guess a talk for another episode. So if you guys are interested in something like that, do let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you made it this far into the video, you might as well drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, and share this video with a friend who likes this sort of content. With all of that being said, I can honestly say that that is what Nacho Libre is really about.
Hello. Looks like we are live. How's it going, everybody? My name's Kier. I'm with JoBlo Originals, and we're doing our very first JoBlo live stream. Today is the day. For you JoBlo fans out there, we did this last week on our JoBlo Horror Originals channel. So we're going to be swapping and alternating Fridays. So if you like what you see here today and you want more of that, tune in next Friday. We'll have Tyler Nichols at JoBlo Horror Originals going live as well. So how's everybody doing? Looks like some of you are already here. That is good to know. Today's going to be a good show. We're going to be covering some recent movie news. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a delayed reaction to James Gunn's release of the Superman suit, which is a hot topic. Seems like a lot of people have a lot of opinions about, including me. So I'm excited to talk about that. We got a lot of good movie news. We have some Fantastic Four casting, as well as a little bit of speculation as to who certain actors might be playing in the movie. We've also got an update on Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. I'm really excited to talk about that. We actually might start with that one today because I have a lot to say about that one. And then it's Friday, so there's new movies coming out. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is out tonight. Probably going to see it this weekend. And some of the early reviews are already in. For those of you that love the franchise, there's good and bad to it, as I guess there is with any blockbuster franchise film. So we got a great show lined up. We got all kinds of movie news. There's other stuff we're going to talk about. But what we're really looking to do here, for those of you that are already on the stream, we're really just looking to start a community. You know, get in front of you guys, hang out, talk movies, talk about the things that we love, and just kind of geek out over all of our favorite in pop culture. That's at least my goal. So hopefully you guys are down with that. And also let me know how the audio is, how everything sounds. I got some music in the background, and I would love to know how the levels are for that. Looks like we've already got some comments. Thank you, everybody. Actually, let me show you guys this one here. Hope you're having a good hair day. Now, I do just want to say that in that regard, being my age, having any hair at all is considered a good hair day. At least it is for me. So I appreciate your concern. And how do we look? I have some there at least. All right. How else you guys doing? Audio is good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Looks good. Sounds good. That's what I want to hear. I think if I do this, I can get some fireworks going. Sometimes that works. Yeah, look at that. That one was for you guys. That one was free. Hello. Hi. Thank you. Yes. Hello. Looks good. Great. All right, guys. Let's get into the main topic now. As we go, please leave your comments. There's all kinds of movie news going around right now. I want to know what you guys are interested in. I want to know what stuff you've heard. I want the tea. So if you guys have any info at all on any of this stuff, comment below. But for now, let's go ahead and let's talk about Lord of the Rings. I want to talk about that. I have a lot to say about this recent announcement. While we're looking at that, we got a nice ticker down here. For those of you that want to read any kind words from any of your favorite filmmakers, actors, we got a few good JoBlo quotes down there. So I would encourage you to take a look. I read through them and it was really cool. So let's get into the first topic, guys. And also, if I'm going through these and anything else that you guys want to discuss, or if you have any questions, drop them in. As soon as I get to them, I will answer them for you. So we're going to be kind of experimenting with the flow a little bit today. Okay, so bear with me. Let me go ahead and bring up this article we have here for Gollum. As well, I do have an interesting question that I want to pose to you guys. I'm going to wait for a little while, maybe closer to the end of the stream. But I had something kind of come to mind today, and I'm just very curious about it. Let's go ahead and share this. Okay, let me know if you guys can see that. Should be, maybe let's make that bigger and make me smaller. I think that's better. So yeah, it's official. We're getting a new Lord of the Rings film, and I'm excited. I want to say, actually, let me start by saying I think this is a good thing. It's going to be a Gollum solo film, sort of. You will see some familiar characters. Andy Serkis is going to be coming back not only to do the performance capture for Gollum, but he's also going to be directing the film. For those of you that love Andy Serkis, you could see that as a feature or maybe a takeaway. It really just depends on how you feel about the movies he has directed. For whatever reason, what's coming to mind for me is Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, which, believe it or not, I kind of actually was a fan of a little bit. I love Woody Harrelson, you know. But this could be a real treat depending on what we get. Now, Lord of the Rings needs a win. The franchise needs a win, if you ask me. I did a whole video about this on the channel recently, but the franchise as a whole started off extremely strong, right? With arguably the greatest film trilogy of all time, Lord of the Rings. That first film, all the way through, I mean, they filmed all three movies back to back to back, released them pretty close together, and it was a phenomenon for moviegoers, and something that has incredible staying power. It's been around for so long, and people still, like me, I watch those movies every year. Then we got the Hobbit trilogy, which I think the most common criticism for that series of films is that it just didn't need to exist. The Hobbit was a very thin, very small story by Tolkien, and it just didn't need to be stretched out into 3 movies, if you ask me. Okay, I would love to know your guys' thoughts. And then we fast forward later to the Amazon Prime Rings of Power TV show. If any of you even remember that exists. Okay, I watched a couple of episodes, and I think it started off strong. I just eventually, the glory faded for me. It didn't look how I wanted it to look. It just wasn't what I wanted from Lord of the Rings. But this might be, okay? If you look at what we have here, not much is known so far, but this thing is looking to come out in 2026 in the winter, in December. So there will be details coming and going and changing in the next year or so while this thing is getting ready to start filming. And I think it's a good idea. I think that you have an interesting character in Gollum, who we got a little bit. I love the beginning of Return of the King, that kind of Gollum origin scene at the beginning. I love that. I absolutely love that. And then, he's obviously peppered throughout the films as well. But a solo adventure could be good. The speculation is, in the original Tolkien novels, which I admit I have not read. If you have, let me know if this is accurate or if I'm, speaking out of pocket. But there is hints to what Gandalf was doing when he kind of went off before coming back to contact Frodo about the ring and how dangerous it is. He was researching Gollum. So it seems like maybe that's going to be the story that we're in for. If that's the case, I think that's cool. It's not really a prequel. It sort of takes place in the same time as the Fellowship of the Ring, but it's slightly, a shift of perspective. So I don't know. I think I feel good about this. I think that you have Andy Serkis coming back to do the performance. I honestly think that's kind of the most important thing for this character, for this movie. But we need a win, and as such, having Andy Serkis direct, it could be good. I mean, he knows the character. He also became kind of a revolutionary in performance capture. He's kind of like the leading authority on that kind of thing now in Hollywood. So we know at least that part will be good. But what I want to know also is, what do you guys need from this movie for it to be on the level? Because I really think in order for them to capture literally the magic of those first 3 movies, it needs to be timed right. It needs to be promoted correctly. I think that there needs to be a lot of emphasis on what fans responded to in those first 3 movies that was kind of ignored, especially in Rings of Power. That kind of stuff is going to be important. To that end, the pieces are in play. It looks like everything is starting off well. We've got Peter Jackson producing. We've got Fran Walsh writing the script, which, that's ideal if you're looking for Lord of the Rings. That's a couple that you can't really outdo for this kind of thing. But there is a part of me that feels a little bit like it's too soon, or it's too, I don't know. I think Rings of Power maybe was proof that we need to let this kind of thing breathe and get a good temperature check on what audiences want. What I don't want to see is this turn into a series of prequels coming out every single year that follow different characters in different times that are meant to connect to the main thing. We don't need all of that. This isn't the MCU. Middle Earth is kind of perfect, just the way it is. And to make anything more, it has to be really good, at least in my opinion. But I want to know what you guys think. And then as well, some de-aging is going to be necessary for this, right? Because this is obviously going to include Gandalf. This is going to probably include Aragorn, and these are actors that if you're going to recast them, you got to be careful. But if you're not going to recast them, you're going to bring back the actors, you also have to be extremely careful, because what's going to happen when they look like those, gel-skinned CGI de-aging cameos? And that would kind of take you right out of it, right? Oh, yeah. Rick Jones might have a point here. He says, but what if it's worse than the Hobbit trilogy? I don't know. I hope it's not. I really thoroughly did not enjoy the Hobbit trilogy. And I don't, that's just not the kind of Lord of the Rings I need right now. And I don't think it's the kind of Lord of the Rings anybody wants. The only reason to do this is if you're going to be able to bring it and serve it on the level, the level that was set by an incredible opening trilogy that has yet to be even challenged, since in Lord of the Rings media. So I don't know. I mean, it's dicey. What do you guys think? It looks like a lot of Andy Serkis fans are in here. And that's, like I said, I think that's kind of the most important piece of this puzzle. The performance will at least be good. And the performance capture will at least be good. Those are two things we can kind of count on. So I'm hoping that in the long run, I'm hoping that this just doesn't send the wrong message that we need a new Lord of the Rings movie every year to keep us interested. I would like for this to be, if it's a great movie, I would like for it to be received well, and then a nice little couple-year break to get the next one right, and to plan out the next one, and to really gauge the audience on what we want. But it could happen. The other drawback, I guess, is it's Warner Brothers. So that just means we're not, you can't be too sure. Hopefully they're turning things around here, but I think in general, this is going to be one of my most anticipated films of 2026. I'm curious to see how it's going to look. I'm definitely curious to see what story they're going with, because also they made a fan film, years ago, probably almost a decade ago, called The Hunt for Gollum, which is also the title of this film. And it has since, as of yesterday, been scrubbed and scraped off the internet. So there's a fan film out there that took some of the information that was in the original Tolkien books that kind of fleshed out a story about what Gandalf and Aragorn were up to hunting for Gollum. I'm wondering if it was taken off the internet because some of that stuff is going to be kind of co-opted into the big screen. And if so, maybe that's cool. Hopefully they'll contact whoever, made that fan film and maybe get them involved if they're going to use any of that stuff. That would be really, really neat. I haven't seen the fan film though, and if you guys have, let me know if you've seen it, if you like it, if it's good. Probably kind of hard to find now that it's not on the internet anymore, but yeah, see, this is what I'm thinking too. We have a comment here from Rick Jones. Aragorn hunting with Gandalf seems like a thin plot. I agree with that. I don't know what surprises we're going to be in for. I don't know what is in the book that could be used to flesh out a full plot. But if you think about it, I mean, making one film kind of based on a fetch quest, right? Hunting and tracking down Gollum. It's not that different from what The Hobbit should have been. One movie about a fetch quest, I mean, of course, there's a lot more epic happenings within it, but we never know what could go into this. I mean, if the bones of it are simple, that might not be an indication of the actual quality of the story, because you can change stuff there. Let's see. Peter Jackson jumped in last minute as Guillermo del Toro was originally supposed to direct when he came in. Oh, okay. So this all sounds also very familiar. Guillermo del Toro has been trying to get a Lord of the Rings movie made for a while. He was involved in The Hobbit, and that was kind of something that maybe we would have been better off. At least creature-wise, I think Guillermo del Toro could have pulled off visually something a little more striking than what we got in any of the Hobbit films, which animation-wise was not so good. Yeah, I agree with this too. Andy Serkis great with mocap. Performance capture in general, this guy is the king, He's the Michael Jordan of that type of filmmaking. And truthfully, I mean, Andy Serkis directing, I mean, this is source material that he knows well. And it's also, for better or worse, it's source material that he kind of, should be a little protective over, a little involved in, because it's kind of his baby. He made Gollum the character that we think of when we think of Gollum, So I think that has to say a lot. It should. But let me know what you guys think. Keep commenting. Yeah, Serkis is Gollum. I agree. There's that would be a difficult one to ever recast. It's not possible to be even worse than the Hobbit trilogy. I like to think that no matter what this movie brings us, it will be better than that. That's for sure. And again, I don't want to plug my own videos too much, but if you guys haven't seen the video I did on the Hobbit trilogy, I definitely give it a good beating. You know, that entire trilogy kind of catches it from me. So it is what it is. I'm hoping that this will reset the fire in our bellies for some of that delicious Middle Earth adventure. I just also hope that it's not littered with legacy characters that are CGI masked and showing up and filming everything on a green screen and just being dropped against a forest. And that's what I don't need. I don't want Lord of the Rings to become a Marvel-fied franchise. And that's what Rings of Power kind of made me feel. And I'm hoping that I can be proven wrong there. But I got more stuff I want to talk to you guys about. We might come back to the Lord of the Rings stuff in future streams. I think there's going to be a lot of news coming out about that, and I'm going to be following that stuff to a T. So if you're looking for a nice, charming, witty source on Lord of the Rings news, I'm pretty much your guy. You probably don't even need to look anywhere else. So definitely don't look anywhere else. Okay. Now let's get into something that I also very much want to discuss. And this is a little bit delayed, I'm aware, but the new Superman suit. I have thoughts on this. I have thoughts. And this is gonna polarize some of you. Hopefully I don't lose too many of you. But I like this. And I don't want to say that I think I get what James Gunn was going for with the composition and contents of this shot, because the truth is I don't know. But I think that we need to think about this before we jump onto whether or not we love it or hate it. If it comes down to it, of course, leave your thoughts in the comments. I want you guys to feel heard as much as I'm about to feel heard. But I think we need to talk about what we're seeing here. Okay, if you don't know, the initial reaction to this was very polarizing. Some people were cool with it, some people absolutely hated it, and we're gonna get into all of that. Okay, I like it personally. I'm a Superman fan. I'm a Superman reader more than a Superman viewer. There hasn't been a lot of Superman movies that I resonate with, but there has been some. But I'm a Superman reader. Okay. And I know what I want from a Superman movie, just like we all do. I think that what James Gunn is trying to do by showing us the suit, especially in this way, is I think he's just trying to humanize the character a little bit. I think he's trying to remind us that other than being Superman, this is also Clark Kent. And I think I saw a quote on Twitter or X that said, he puts his boots on one leg at a time. I also think we can't know for sure what's going on outside that window. I agree it looks bad and it looks weird if this is a battle and Clark is taking his sweet ass time getting to it. I completely understand that might be how it looks. But I also think James Gunn has made some great superhero content in general. He knows that he can post a hero shot of Superman and better show off the beautiful red trunks and gold belt. He knows that he can do that. And he especially knows that people would expect that. This could be his way of saying that it's not the straightforward Superman that we're expecting, or this could be saying this is a more human Superman, a Superman that, rightfully so, was raised in Kansas and is very much human as well as alien. I don't know. I think that if we pay attention to the right things, he's got red trunks. We all wanted red trunks. Comment if you didn't want red trunks, but I did. I certainly did. And I'm curious to see how they're going to look. He's got a nice, big, fat Superman logo. We know that that's kind of the Kingdom Come inspired logo. It is a little different. The colors obviously are different. I'm seeing a lot of, it looks... It looks kind of bulky to me. Yeah, okay, so I agree it looks maybe ill-fitting in the pose that he's in, but how can we know what that's gonna look like when he's standing up and he's flexing his muscles and his traps? and they're gonna fill out some of that stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know. If it was a skin tight spandex suit, this pose would look pretty unflattering as well, but for different reasons. It's maybe a little bulky, but I also think this might not be the only Superman suit that we're getting. Do you know what I think about is in I guess spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen that yet, get on it after this stream. But there will be spoilers. They kind of took, by the end of that movie, it was clear that the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy was all kind of a prequel to the Spider-Man that we know and love, the classic Spider-Man. And his suit reflected that. If you guys remember the last scene of that movie, everybody on the internet is obsessed with that light blue and red, simple, low-tech Spider-Man suit. How do we know that this isn't a suit from the Fortress of Solitude, you know, which would have a reason to probably have some extra padding. I mean, you know, they're durable, but I mean, you know, these are warriors after all. A little protection never hurt. Is it possible that this is a Krypton suit from the Fortress that by the end of the movie gets turned into a simpler, more minimal, low tech, low armor Superman suit? I don't know, and neither do you. And that's why I think it could be something. It could be that this is the only suit we're gonna get, and this is just a battle damaged, you know, version. And it fits a little different. Maybe he, you know, it looks nice when he takes it out of the wash, and then after wearing it and fighting crime in it, it stretches out. But we don't know. I like the suit. I don't know about the collar. Looks like a lot of you guys. Yeah, honestly, I hate the suit. Yeah, a lot of you guys aren't fans, and that's okay. But we don't know what the context is either. I want to know, do you guys, when you see this image, is it the suit that you don't like? Or is it the fact that he looks a little sad when we were kind of hoping for an all-star Superman, bright and smiley, hopeful Superman? Because I got to tell you guys too, and you might not like this, I hope I don't lose any of you. I'm so done with the damn dark Superman for a while. I could do without it. I could do with a Superman that maybe instead of having to snap Zod's neck at the end, maybe he just has to, I don't know, beat a hurricane, you know, or a tornado, or like, you know, I know how there's specific feelings about Superman 4, but wouldn't it be cool if the villain that Superman was up against was like a natural disaster, not somebody that he had to choose between killing them or not? Because that's what rubs people the wrong way. You know, that's what gets me. A lot of suit haters, I understand. It does look bad. Yeah. You know, I think that we're gonna change our minds when the movie comes out. I especially think this movie will be good. And if the movie is good, we can forgive the suit. We can look forward to future installments and improvements being made. But I trust James Gunn. Okay. Just like we have here, Stephen or Stephen O'Donnell, let me know how to pronounce that one. No more dark, 100%. Just like this guy trusts me with my opinion. We don't need it. Audiences, moviegoers, comic readers, fans of this kind of shit don't need another dark Superman. You know what we have? We have Homelander in The Boys, who's doing it well, and it's scary. And it's earned because that's just who the character is. Superman, you got to make him light and hopeful before you can break his spirits. I don't want Superman to be dark and emo, you know? Sometimes you'll get to those story arcs, and sometimes there are comics where that works very well when you contrast it against what you know of the established character, which is that he's bright and hopeful. Sorry for that. I'm not sorry for that tangent. I'm not apologizing for that. I agree with myself. Yeah. Hip Hop Legend says he's not sure about the collar either. I just don't know. It looks all right. I think there's some suits, like I loved in the Batman. I love that the Pattinson suit has a collar. I think that looks really cool. And I dig that suit on the whole. I think it looks really cool. For Superman, the obvious argument is that he doesn't need all of this extra shit because he's invincible. You know? I mean, if anything, his suit could be flammable, but his skin isn't flammable. You know, he could be fighting crime naked and it would probably be some kind of advantage, actually. You know, minus the power of distraction. All right. I got your name right. Good, good. Yeah, a lighter blue suit would have been nice. I agree with that too. Definitely could have used a little more pop, but we don't know. Maybe it just looks a little different here. That could be the lighting. It's really hard to tell. I also wonder how they achieved. James Gunn said that this post was all in camera, which means no CGI, no Photoshop. But so that means they got to be using one of those giant LED screens out that window. It's the only way that they could do that and match the light up. And that looks really cool. I did see some folks speculating that the green in that photo might be Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, who we know is in the movie. That would be cool. I do want to know why Superman's not out there if that is indeed a threat. I hope that it's not what it looks like at first glance. And I'm choosing to believe that it's not what it looks like. I think the context of this shot is probably something different. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe he deployed some kind of, force. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some kind of situation where his work is already done and now he's taken off the boots. It doesn't really look like that. It doesn't really look like that, I'll be honest. But in general, I like it. What I really hope to see is just that the story, the performances, the characters within it, that they all accentuate a brighter and hopeful Superman. I think it's very curious that this first image was not bright and hopeful. But again, James Gunn knows what he's doing. He knows he could have done that, and he specifically didn't, which makes me think that there is more context to this that will probably become much clearer once we get that film. You know what I mean? Let's see, we got agreed, no forced comedy, just make it dope. Superman doesn't need to be funny. Yeah, kind of. I mean, in his own way, he does need to be funny, but he doesn't need to be MCU funny, and I think that's probably what you're saying here. Yeah, Superman doesn't need to have those Captain America MCU quips to be considered bright and hopeful. Superman, if anything, can have that awkward charm as Clark Kent that carries the entire humor of the character, because Clark Kent is a goof, he's a total goober. And I say that with nothing but love for the character. And there's a fire in James Gunn to give us a good Superman. I know that, and I know he's got it in him. So yeah, but I agree. I don't want to see any MCU quipping where it doesn't belong. You might get some of that maybe from even Guy Gardner. He's kind of a witty character in the comics. How could you not be with that dumbass bolt cut? Which I hope Nathan Fillion has that bolt cut in the movie. Yeah, ooh, I like this. See, I agree with this too. O'Donnell again, nice. Gunn likes to F with people. I think it'll be light. I agree. Think about, this is the guy who made arguably the greatest trilogy in Marvel history with Guardians of the Galaxy. I love those movies. Admittedly, I'm a comic book reader. I never read any Guardians of the Galaxy. Still kind of haven't. I've seen some of their other appearances, and I've read some stuff that includes them, but I never picked up any Guardians titles and read them on my own. James Gunn made me feel like I should do that. And I hope that the same can be said for Superman, because when it comes to the masses, you have characters that have the mass appeal, like Batman, like Spider-Man, and you've seen darker iterations and lighter iterations of both. And I think what wins out for a character like Superman is we just need classic Superman. Take it back to the basics. Give us the things that will establish this new Superman in this new DCU. I want to know who that guy is and what he's about by the end of that movie. And I just want the journey to get there to be steeped in hope, not revenge, not Martha, not hatred for Batman, not a giant miscommunication between two giant dudes who are going to have to duke it out at the end and, have moms with the same name in order to get over it. I don't need any more of that. I've had my fill. We all had our fun. This is going to be something new. I just hope it's new. Guy Gardner is kind of a dick in the comics, and it's funny. You know what it is that Guy Gardner, especially like when Jeff Johns writes, the Green Lantern stuff, Guy Gardner loves himself. He's a confident Green Lantern, and I think that also makes him hilarious, because He's got a stupid haircut. That's why. Hip Hop Legend says, yeah, no more MCU funny. We just don't need it. We don't need it. It's unnecessary. It's not funny anymore, you know? Did you guys see that article? Oh my God. Did you guys see, I don't know how y'all feel about Thor Love and Thunder, okay? And you can tell me in the comments if you want how you feel about the movie, but I'm gonna assume that you didn't love it, okay? Because most people didn't. A lot of the backlash of that movie was that it leaned too far into the silly, okay? Personally, I thought like Ragnarok was the perfect balance for Thor of a little lighter, which I know he's not in the comics. I know he's not usually kind of a dumb brute, but I think kind of, you know, making Chris Hemsworth play into the comedy was a good move for Ragnarok. Love and Thunder was a meme based on Thor, is what it was. And it was very silly. And while I think it probably would have worked, and Taika Waititi could have pulled it off if he would have changed half of the jokes into something a little bit more, I don't know, for real people, as opposed to making a movie that was specifically for a meme generation or a meme, you know, like the movie was made to just generate little viral clips out of with the screaming goats. And, you know, it's the same thing with Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, the constant gag of him getting pissed on. Those are things that don't work when you're trying to create a character that people care about. Because if I'm seeing Aquaman get pissed on every 5 seconds, or I'm seeing Thor, you know, act like Steve Stifler from American Pie, I'm probably not going to care so much, you know, when Thor goes off the deep end, or when Thor turns, or when he does something cool. It all takes away from it when, you know, he's like Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch movie, just a total idiot. I don't know why that came to mind, but that's what it was. Let's see. Shadow of the Statue says, Love and Thunder was the wrong type of New Zealand humor. It didn't work. Yeah. Now, I'm not from New Zealand, but, you know, Taika Waititi is, and I usually find Taika Waititi to be very funny. I love, like, What We Do in the Shadows. You know, Jojo Rabbit. I thought Jojo Rabbit was an incredible movie. Thor Ragnarok was an incredible movie. But Thor Love and Thunder, I think nobody had their heart in the right place. I think Marvel wanted more fun, more funny. I think Taika Waititi, you know, and he'll probably admit this, just wanted the paycheck. And I think Chris Hemsworth loves the character of Thor, but was misguided. And that's what happened. But I don't want that to be carried. I don't want something like that to be the standard for superhero movies. You know, that's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, those bloody goats didn't know when to piss off. I agree, man. They were extremely irritated. The first time I got a laugh. You know what? Probably the second time too, I got a laugh. After a while, they're just screaming goats. You know, so that can only be funny for so long. Some jokes get funnier the more it happens, the more ridiculous. Some things just become annoying and cringe. And unfortunately, that's what happened in the case of Thor Love and Thunder. Hopefully, y'all feel me on that. But I got something new I want to talk about. We're going to move on from Superman. I could be here all day. But to close the button on Superman, let's give it a chance. Okay, let's not jump to conclusions and assume the movie sucks because the suit sucks, because that's what everyone already does. We can do better. We can do chiller, you know? Because then we'll be right when we're like, hey, we're going to wait before we start making predictions on if it's going to be bad. We're going to wait and see, because it's about more than that. Soapbox over, but check this out. John Malkovich joins the cast of the Fantastic Four, the MCU Fantastic Four. Now, if you guys are sick of superhero stuff, let me know. I mean, like, as far as this stream goes, because there's a bunch of superhero news. But I also have strong thoughts on this because there's some rumors. So we did get our cast for the Fantastic Four. We got Pedro Pascal, the internet darling that is Pedro Pascal, playing Reed Richards. That was also a pretty polarizing casting. I know a lot of people were stuck on the John Krasinski deal. I personally, and I said this in a video, I don't think John Krasinski should have played Reed Richards. I see why he could have done it. I see why it would be a choice. But to me, it was too obvious of a choice. And then once it became the cameo praise of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that's when I knew that ain't gonna cut it. And Pedro Pascal is an interesting choice. I personally thought Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny, that was a casting choice I would have made, you know, just to kind of really go off the wall, but still perfectly suit the character. But we got Pascal. And then we got Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I'm cool with that. We got Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things as Johnny Storm. That was an interesting one for me. He's kind of one of the it boys, you know, after Stranger Things came out. I think he was somebody that was very popular in fan casting culture. And to be fair, I think he can do a great job. It's unusual. It's not what I would have gone with, but I totally can see it. And I believe that if he wants to, he can play that younger, punky kind of, you know, I don't know, not hot-headed, but risk-taking, devil-may-care Johnny Storm. That's what I'm looking to say. And then we got Eben Moss Backrack. I think I'm saying that correctly. Ebon Moss Backrack as Ben Grimm, the Thing. Good. That one's good. That one I like, because if you guys have seen The Bear, which of course is where we all know him from, he's, you know, you got Ben Grimm is a tough. He's a street tough. Okay, he's not the smartest of all four of them. Okay, but he's the toughest. And he's the most loyal. Okay, and those are things that I think Eben Moss Backrack really can do. And I think it'll be fun to see him do it in a lighter way than on The Bear, because The Bear, much as I love that show, man, that's not a show you watch for the humor, although it is funny. Okay, we're still talking about Thor here. Yeah, Jojo Rabbit, I agree, was really good. That movie blew my mind. I thought it was so funny. Oh, interesting. BK. I like this. I wish they cast Lakeith Stanfield, and you're talking about as Johnny Storm. I would get behind that. I like Lakeith Stanfield. I actually think, tell me if you agree, especially you, BK, but this is open to all of you. Lakeith Stanfield as Gambit in the MCU. What do you think? I know, we've gone too woke with that one, but I mean, the guy, what do we know of Gambit? Cajun from New Orleans, a thief, a charmer, a sweet talker, you know, lean, crazy 8-pack abs that just poke through his tiny little t-shirts. Lakeith Stanfield could pull all of that off, and I think he could do it very, very well. Okay, so great call for Johnny Storm as well, BK. But I would actually say let's get him as Gambit. Let's do that. You know. Now, as far as John Malkovich, yeah, we're all excited. We're all excited that Malkovich is in this movie. You can't help but be a fan of the guy. If you've seen him in anything, then you know he's a remarkable actor, an incredible talent, but he's also sweet. And I think he'll be great for this. I think he would have made a good Vulture before Keaton played him. I also really liked him in Rounders, and that got me thinking he would just be good as any kind of villain, which he is. The rumor that I heard, pending confirmation, is that John Malkovich might be playing a character called Nathaniel Richards in this movie. This is not a deep cut, but this is something that if you don't read the actual comics, it might be new to you. This was kind of new to me. Nathaniel Richards, I guess, is Reed Richards' father, but it is more complicated than that in the lore. It's from like another world. He's got a bunch of other family. I think at one point he was Doctor Doom in one universe. So this leaves a lot of options open for where the story could take us. We already know it's set in a different universe. It's planted in the 1960s. Those are all cool things that I look forward to. That's different. And hopefully it's not going to be overly quippy and lame. Hopefully it's fresh and fun. And maybe John Malkovich is like future Mr. Fantastic or alternate dimension Doctor Doom. Or, you know, so it could be one of those things where he's some kind of variant of an undecided, uncast MCU villain that's waiting to make their appearance in 10 movies. You know how much Marvel loves to do that. But I'm going to choose to believe that Malkovich would not agree to do this movie if he wasn't sold on the character he was going to be playing. And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would just take a role. So hopefully it's a juicy role. Hopefully it's something where he can really shine and not the kind of thing like they did where Bill Murray finally joined the MCU for one scene in one movie. you know, mostly played for laughs. And that was kind of a bummer. You know, I think it would have been fun to see him, at least if he's going to be goofy and lame, that's fine. But let's get him in a more important role so he can at least, you know, you can use that star power to help you, not just promote something, you know? Yeah, Malkovich and Rounders, that's the movie for me. That's the quintessential John Malkovich performance is Rounders when he plays Teddy KGB. If you haven't seen that movie, it's Matt Damon, Edward Norton, John Malkovich is in it. It's got John Turturro. It's a fantastic movie about poker hustling. And I think it's really a movie about choosing the safe life or betting on yourself and pursuing what you really love. And if you haven't seen that, Malkovich in that movie, he'll convince you that he can play anyone. He plays just like an underground card shark with a hilarious Russian accent. It's great. It's great. And then in other news related to the Fantastic Four, we didn't just get announcements of John Malkovich. We also got an announcement that Ralph Ineson from The Witch, the Robert Eggers movie, you would know this guy solely by his voice. He's going to be playing Galactus in this movie. Now, this to me is just as much of an excitement as any other casting for the movie so far. Ralph Ineson is terrifying when he wants to be. He was also in The Green Knight. If you haven't seen that movie, it is wonderful. It is so much fun, and he does a great job, mostly just doing voice casting. Let me show you guys this article. Ralph Ineson to play Galactus in the Fantastic Four. So this is an official casting announcement, and I think we need to talk about what this could mean for the MCU, okay? This is a big villain. This is, comic books wise, this is a Avengers level threat. This is a serious deal, okay? Ralph Ineson is terrifying. His voice is going to be great, especially if they add a little bit of that metallic reverb over it that you would expect from Galactus, or, you know, something a little more ethereal. I hope they don't do the purple cloud thing. They won't do that, but hopefully they don't cop out and make Galactus just like a big, ugly purple cloud that floats through space. Hopefully they do some version of the Galactus that we all want to see. I believe they will do that. We've seen clues in the MCU that that's what's going to happen. But this is insane. Javier Bardem was originally in talks to play this role, which I think also would have been incredible. But this is a big deal. This is kind of takes me back to earlier days of MCU. Do you guys remember back in the early days of the MCU, before every celebrity and their semi-rich cousin was in the MCU? You remember when it was a big deal to see a big or a lesser known celebrity get a big role in Marvel, something juicy that led to a career? Nowadays, they just take already famous people like Christian Bale and they shoehorn him into things that don't exactly work and don't play to his strengths. And or they do film it and they edit it all out. This could be huge for Ralph Ineson. This could really be a big deal. Let's see. Love the Vavitch and Green Knight. I always say the Vavitch. It's very hard for me to say the Witch when I talk about that movie. Yeah, man. He was not only great in those movies, but and I can't stress this enough, if you guys don't know his voice, please do yourself a favor and just here's what I want you to do. I want you to pour yourself a cocktail, whatever you like, a bourbon, perhaps a scotch, have one for me. Light a Marlboro Red, okay? Or a filterless Camel cigarette. Down the drink, smoke the cigarette, burp as loud as you can, scratch out your voice, and then try to do a Ralph Ineson impression. And his voice will still sound more gravelly and wretched and scary than yours. I promise. It's really a gift what he's got. Rounders is a true classic. I completely agree. Let's see. We got Ralph Ineson was in Harry Potter, Infinity War, Game of Thrones, so many other movies that show as a background character. Yeah. Finally breaks through. This could be the role to break him out, you know? I thought it was cool the way that they did Thanos. They kind of not reintroduced, but, you know, Josh Brolin's, you know, he'd been around since forever. The Goonies. He's been around, been an actor for a long time. him getting to play Thanos and then Cable, I think proved that that's somebody you can bank on to be in a superhero film. And sometimes you want to collect those actors who can do these types of things. Ralph Ineson, he can do those things. Cannot wait to see what Ineson does with the role. I completely agree. That's a great name. Swirl. Nice and simple. I like that. Green Knight was definitely interesting. If you guys haven't seen The Green Knight, please go watch it. It's slow, but in a great way. It is, I know A24 sometimes gets a little pretentious with some of their stuff, a little pretentious. Ultimately, I am a fan, and I think The Green Knight is one of the greater movies in their catalog, personally. All right, let's move on for a while from some of the superhero news. Although I find all of that stuff very exciting, I do want to kind of get to some other stuff. It's Friday, which, first of all, happy Friday. What do you guys got going on this weekend? More importantly, comment what movies are you looking forward to this weekend? Is there any movies you're going to go see? I'm probably going to go check out the new Planet of the Apes tonight, maybe. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'm really excited, and I kind of wanted to discuss a little bit of the new Planet of the Apes because it's out. We got a little bit of an early review for it that our good friend Chris Bumbray here at JoBlo was able to check out the movie early and review it. And the early reviews are looking good. They're looking promising for this movie, specifically in the realm of the CGI, which I'm just going to put it out there. That's what my ass was the most nervous about because it was suitable and good in the previous trilogy. And I was just worried that that's not where we're at with Disney at the helm, kind of making those decisions. No offense, but Marvel is not exactly the company you look to for optimal CGI performance. And I wasn't sure the pieces were in play. Then I saw the trailer. I thought it looked amazing. And then the extended trailer came out, and you get a better look at some of the action sequences, and the CGI looked good. And as it would turn out, the movie is being received very well. But what I am hearing is it might be a little long and it might commit the cardinal sin of an Apes movie or a kaiju movie or any movie where the main draw is a creature like Jurassic Park or something. I have heard that it focuses a little too much on the human characters in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know. Yes, it focuses on the human characters, but it looks like the human characters are very primitive. It looks like they're almost, at least from the trailers, kind of pretending to be apes in some way. That could be interesting. Prey really pulled that off, which was also a movie. I mean, it was, produced technically by Disney. And Prey was a phenomenal movie that had a creature as the main draw, but still found a way to make the human characters interesting. I think part of that was having them be so primitive because it's a little bit different. It's not like we're seeing people with iPhones calling for help, we're seeing people in loincloths like Tarzan, I don't relate to that. And I don't expect many people do. So I think it looks good. I also want to show you guys, I have this clip. JoBlo did an interview for the Planet of the Apes, the new one. And we got to interview the full cast and the director, which was really cool. Wes Ball is the filmmaker behind that one. And it was just interesting to see all of these, fans of the movie talking about their version of it. And I want to show you guys this clip, which I found hilarious.
Looking at it going, man, that would be really hard to do. It would be hard to get that sound.
That's Kevin Durant and
so as I was getting in the body, and Alain was like, okay, you got this. He asked me a question, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, I don't know what it is about you, but I don't trust you. And it was just this sound that came out. It was like pushing from the diaphragm, trying to figure out how to get that sound out so that it could resonate on a plate in my head so that I can create sound. And then when that sound came out, he recorded it and he was like, okay, we're sending this to Wes, to the director. And we all had our own process finding it, but it was grounded in the fact that Alain broke down those anatomical biological changes, and then it informed the psychology, it informed the neurological, the way that the synapses were firing off differently because we were different.
Whoa, well, yeah, that little clip from the interview sticks with me because, first of all, Kevin Durand, or is it Durand? I think it's Durand. I mean, what a physical thing. I feel like just watching him in that interview doing that, I feel like I already know his performance is going to be great. Just, I mean, without the makeup, there was a physicality, there was a look in his eye, there was a just kind of like the way he explained, the way he was getting those sounds, it just sounded good. It sounded very good. That clip made me excited. So let me know. For you guys, does that clip do anything for you to make you want to see the movie a little more, at least in terms of performance? We know it's going to be good. I love this comment here. This dude was always a henchman in every early 2000s movie. You know how I recognize him immediately when I see Kevin Durand? The first thing I think of is when he played kind of the prototype version of the Blob in the very bad Wolverine Origins movie. I'm sure you guys remember when X-Men was trying to do their Origins thing, and they gave us that terrible Wolverine movie and that shitty Deadpool, which has later been retconned and fixed. But yeah, the dude really cut his teeth in Hollywood on being a henchman in every early 2000s movie. But you know what I say? We need people like that. We need those people that are just good henchmen in a movie. You know, I always harken back to Hector from Fast and the Furious. That guy just plays a guy named Hector in every movie, and he's always the same guy. It's like Hector is in every cinema. He's interdimensional. He's dipping his toe in everything. You'll see him in Fast and the Furious, and he plays the same dude in Crank or something. You know what I mean? I'm ready for the apes. Yeah, totally. Squirrel, I'm with you. Bring me the apes. As John Flickinger would say, my body is ready. All right, let's hang for a couple more minutes, guys. Let's do this. I want to talk about this question. What product or person would you like to see a biopic for? Let me tell you why I ask this. I just took the time to look into this Netflix biopic by Jerry Seinfeld and Amy Schumer called Unfrosted. And this is a true story. Okay, listen, I'm getting a little frustrated talking about this movie already. So I'm Jerry Seinfeld fan over here, loyal. Amy Schumer, not so much. Kind of can't stand her. But this is one of those movies where, and this doesn't happen a lot, this is one of those movies where with 20 minutes left of the movie, not 20 minutes into the movie, but with 20 minutes left of the movie, I decided I would rather turn it off than just stick it out for 20 more minutes and see how it ends. I didn't like the movie. I didn't like it at all. And I'm not recommending it either. I would actually say, you heard it here first, my recommendation, skip that one. Whoa. We got some great answers. Rick Jones, a Black Sabbath biopic. Yes, please. I would love to see not only a Black Sabbath biopic, but like a biopic about like the relationship or just a biopic about maybe Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhoads. You know? That would be really rad. All right, Rick, I need you here, man. Who would you cast as Ozzy in a Black Sabbath biopic? Let me know. I'm really curious. I think the guy that played Ozzy in that Motley Crue biopic was all right. That little bubble, nice. Yeah, we got the upcoming Frank Sinatra. That actually, so Arcade, that I think Scorsese is doing the Frank Sinatra biopic. I think, right? Yeah, I think your comment is actually happening. Did I hear that somewhere? It's DiCaprio, right? Playing Sinatra. That could be good. Oh yeah, we got hip hop legend. Looking forward to Furiosa. Me too. Speaking of Chris Hemsworth, I think that'll be a good role for him. I'm hoping. For me, I want to see a proper biopic about Stanley Kubrick. I would love to see a narrative-driven Stanley Kubrick biopic. As a guy who is a known perfectionist, who had a hard life of, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of takes for every single movie he made, but then for every movie he made to be considered a masterpiece, let's make a movie about that guy. I didn't need a movie about the invention of the Pop-Tart. Certainly didn't need a biopic about the flaming hot Cheeto. Okay, sometimes they'll surprise you. Air was a good biopic. I've heard that Blackberry was a really good biopic. So there's a place for these things. But I want to know, like, what's interesting. Let's do a cocaine era Bowie biopic. Tilda Swinton as Bowie. That Shadow of the Statue. That is a great idea. 1, I love Tilda Swinton. 2, she'd make the perfect Bowie. 3, Bowie's cocaine era, probably my favorite era of his music. And that's coming from me. I celebrate the guy's entire catalog. Office Space reference. Oh, look at that. This is a good one too. A David Lynch biopic. Oh, Fallon, I agree, my man. I agree. Who would play David Lynch in a biopic? A Prince biopic. That would be legendary. I would love that. I'm a little bit precious about Prince. I'm a huge fan. I'm a little bit precious. I would say that, like, if you did a Prince biopic, you'd have to be, I would want somebody who loves his music through and through to be involved. I would want his estate, his family to be involved in the making to make sure that they get it right. With Prince, that's one where, that guy, yeah, you almost couldn't cast an actor to play Prince. He was kind of too charming in his own way. Yeah, let's see. Rick Jones, Ozzy was lean. Yeah, I think you're talking about the Motley Crue biopic, and they have to nail the accent. Yeah, the accent is important, not just a parody. That's the thing with some biopics, and especially for rock stars, it seems you get these actors that end up becoming more of an impression of the artist than a portrayal. You know who did it really well? Taron Egerton in Rocket Man. Jason Segel as David Lynch. You'd have to, what you'd have to do it. You'd have to do what I just had to do mentally and separate Jason Segel from comedy and just look at him as an actor. And he's done some great dramatics. He can be funny too. Lynch can be funny. A Steven Seagal biopic? I would happily not watch that. Unless it was intentionally bad. You know what they should do? They should make a Steven Seagal biopic that's like in the style of a Steven Seagal action movie. That I would watch. I feel like I just stole that from him. I think you should leave. Kyle MacLachlan as David Lynch. Nice. Very nice. That's a good one. A Steven Seagal biopic. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. A Diddy biopic. Oh, calm down there, okay? There probably is a P. Diddy biopic, a Serbian film, I think. All right, on that note, let's plug some stuff. Listen, guys, if you like the t-shirt that I've been wearing this whole stream, this is our let me get so you can see it. This is one of our JoBlo designs. You can scan this QR code. You can buy that shirt. You can buy other shirts. I've got a couple that I really like. If you love movie quotes, but kind of tongue-in-cheek movie quotes, they're more if you know, you know. Our shirts are the way to go. Okay. So scan that QR code, shop around, it all helps. It's a big deal. And then as well, I want you guys to check in next Friday at JoBlo Horror Originals for another live stream with Tyler Nichols, who hosts that live show over there. I tuned in last week. It was awesome. I took a lot of notes and inspiration. So if you like what you saw here, I know you're going to like what you saw over there. So I want you guys to go check that out. All right. Ooh, a John Carpenter biopic. I had to pin that one last minute. Let's definitely see that. Let's see that John Carpenter biopic. I'll make it if no one else wants to. All right. Hey, thank you guys all so much for being here. Tune in. Not next Friday, but the Friday after that, you'll be seeing me again. I'll be a little bit more tan because I'm going to Mexico. And when I come back, I'm going to catch you guys live. So stick around. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I love you all. Get used to me. I'll see you again later. Bye.